Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into the YouTube channel. Today I want to give you 3 fall fish locators. These are the baits that I would use and have on my front deck if I was going to a lake I hadn't been to recently, or maybe never in before. Maybe it's your first time to a lake, but it is November, obviously. We're rounding the corner, getting close to Thanksgiving. At least in Northeast Texas, we've had some really mild temperatures. Even the nights aren't getting very cool. We had a pretty hard cold snap about a week ago or so, but now we're just highs in the low 80s, high 70s, and then the nights 50s, but not very cool for this time of year. I think we're gonna get a bit of a cold front with some rain coming around the corner, but I wanted to, based on the current conditions for what we have here in Northeast Texas anyways, I think at least when the water temperature's in the 60s, and right now it's mid 60s to high 60s depending upon where you are on the lake or what lake you might be on. So I'm going to give you 3 baits that I feel like are ones that I want to have on the deck of my boat when I'm trying to locate fish in the fall. Before I get right into it, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing that. I would certainly appreciate it, and it's probably one of the better ways to help grow the channel. So here we go. Now these 3 baits are going to be geared towards finding fish that are in that kind of that fall migration, that are up in the creeks or at least shallow in the water column, say less than 10 feet of water, chasing bait either in the very backs of creeks, coves, pockets, and bays, or on some main lake runs in some places where you have some deeper water access. But the big deal is presence of bait. You got to have presence of bait for these to work, in my opinion. So number 1, I would have to have either a Bill Lewis rattle trap or a hammer trap, or just for that matter, something in the bait fish pattern, something in a sexy shad or chrome blue, chrome black, a gold black back, green gizzard, even just some white ones would be good. 3/8 to ½ ounce is what I would typically start with, but if it's difficult and I find the bait's really small, I'll drop down to a 1/4 ounce. I'm going to throw that on like a medium heavy action rod, and I'm going to throw it with, say, 14 to 16 pound disc Gamma fluorocarbon, a faster moving gear ratio reel like a 8:3 to 1 Bass Pro Shops Johnny Morris Signature Series reel, and I want to move that bait at a pretty good clip. And if I'm not getting bit on a straight retrieve, then I'm going to start with that yo-yo, just kind of letting it, like pulling it and then reeling, and pull it and drop, and pull and drop, and just basically you're trying to yo-yo it and let it fall, yo-yo it and let it fall. But that's a Bill Lewis, or basically lipless or flat-sided lipless crankbaits. Number 2, I would definitely have a bladed jig tied on. You want to have a bladed jig in your white or your translucent shad type patterns, depending upon the watercolor. But pair that with a trailer that's kind of shad profile, like this is a Yamamoto Zaco, 3/8 ounce or ½ ounce, depending upon the slope or contour of the area that you're fishing in. Best case scenario, have one of each, because sometimes you're going to need to slow roll it and get it down along the bottom, and that'll help a bunch. But you want to have a bladed jig. Some sort of bait fish or shad type profile or pattern is what I would recommend. I'm going to throw these baits around any type of vegetation or grass that might be in the water, or I'm going to go back to where I can see the creek channels, kind of winding back in the back of a creek, and I'm going to look at both the flats and the steep side. Depending upon the day, they might prefer one or the other. And then, of course, one of my favorite, and probably its strongest time of the year to be fished, a spinnerbait. 3/8 or ½ ounce double willow spinnerbait. If the water's really clear, I want this where I could just barely see the blades flashing. Days like today with, kind of scattered clouds and wind, the ideal time to throw a spinnerbait. I know this bait doesn't receive a lot of love from anglers these days, but I think the spinnerbait is as strong as it is at any other time in the fall. So definitely to have a spinnerbait, either a white or a shad pattern, a green gizzard, something like that. And if the water's really dirty, just go with a chartreuse and white. Pretty hard to beat that. But those are 3 baits that I think you're going to want to have tied on when you are looking for or searching for bass in the fall of the year. Definitely my favorite. If I was going to add just one to it, it would definitely be a square bill. like a 1.5 or a 2.5 square bill in some sort of a bait fish pattern. Honestly, it's pretty hard to kind of choose the lipless over the square bill in the fall. I really like throwing a square bill in the fall, but for just totally searching out, looking for fish and bait fish and the presence of fish in an area, a lipless is just really hard to beat, specifically around grass. So that's it, guys. Those are the 3 plus 1, maybe 4 baits that you're going to want to have for searching and locating fish in the fall of the year, specifically when we have these mild temperatures. It's going to change again once the water starts to drop, but those are the 3 that I'd have tied on now when the fish are, feeding up, putting on that feed bag, getting ready for the winter. Thanks for tuning into the YouTube channel. If you got anything out of it, please give me a thumbs up and drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear which of these baits are your favorites. Really, these baits weren't listed in order from best to least. Those are just the 3 that I want to have. Make sure you go over to my description section. There you'll find a discount code for Amphibia eye gear, patented air cell technology, which allows these frames and sunglasses to float, as well as ANSI rated lenses to protect your eyes. Also in the description section are links to Instagram, Facebook, my merch, Team Niggemeyer Fishing. Until next time, thanks for watching, and good fishing, good fishing.